Stop scrolling right now because what I'm about to reveal could put $2,000 directly into your bank account, and this is not clickbait. The White House just dropped explosive new details about the president's stimulus payment plan, and the timeline is closer than you think. If you've been waiting for answers about whether this money is actually coming, who qualifies, and when you'll see it, the next few minutes will change everything you thought you knew. This is information the mainstream media isn't properly covering, and you need to hear this before it's too late. Stay with me because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to expect and how to prepare. Welcome back to the Phineas family, where we break down the money news that actually matters to your wallet. I'm here to cut through the noise and bring you the real facts about your finances, your benefits, and the payments you deserve. Today, we're diving deep into the latest bombshell update on the $2,000 payment that everyone's been talking about. The White House economic advisor just went on record with details that will blow your mind, and I've got the full breakdown for you. If this is your first time here, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now because we're the channel that keeps you ahead of the curve on every single benefit and payment update. Let's get straight into this game-changing information. A major development just emerged regarding the $2,000 stimulus check that the president has been calling a dividend payment. The White House economic advisor Kevin Hassett sat down for an explosive interview where he revealed critical information about when Americans can expect the official proposal to be introduced. This isn't speculation or rumors anymore. This is coming directly from one of the most powerful economic voices in the administration. I've got the actual clip from this interview, and I'm going to break down every single word for you because there are details hidden in his statements that you absolutely need to understand. Kevin Hassett isn't just any advisor, by the way. This man is on the short list to potentially become the next chairman of the Federal Reserve. When he speaks, financial markets listen. When he makes predictions, policymakers pay attention. The interview happened just yesterday, and it's packed with specific timeline information that changes the entire narrative around these payments. Before we dive into what he said, let me give you some context. It's been a couple of weeks since we last discussed this topic in depth. The president had made statements about these payments, but things had gone relatively quiet. That silence just ended in a major way. In the interview, the host brought up something crucial that I've covered before, but needs to be repeated because I get asked about this constantly. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent already indicated the income threshold for eligibility. If you earn less than $100,000 per year, you're in the qualifying range for this payment. I actually covered this information in a video back in early November when the Treasury Secretary first made these statements. You can find that video on my channel if you want to hear those exact words directly from Scott Bessent himself. Now here's where people get confused, and I need to clear this up once and for all. I receive hundreds of comments from people saying they're worried they won't qualify because they receive Social Security, SSI, or SSDI. Others say they're seniors who don't file tax returns. Some mention they're not currently working. Let me make this crystal clear so there's no confusion. None of that matters. The only thing that matters is your income level. If your total income from all sources is under $100,000 annually, you're eligible. It doesn't matter where that income comes from. It doesn't matter if you work a traditional job or not. Income is income. The host asked Kevin Hassett a direct question that everyone wants answered. Should Americans plan to receive these checks in 2026? His response was measured but incredibly revealing. He explained that whether these payments go out depends entirely on what happens with Congress. Congress will need to appropriate the funds to send money to households. That's not surprising since we already understood the legislative process would be involved. But here's where things get really interesting. Hassett made a fascinating observation about the economic situation. He pointed out that back in July, when this idea was first proposed, the economic picture looked very different. During the summer months, he wasn't confident there would be fiscal space for these payments. The budget situation seemed tight, and adding $2,000 payments for millions of Americans seemed like a stretch, but conditions have changed dramatically in just a few months. He revealed that the economy has experienced multiple quarters of almost 4% growth. That's strong economic expansion by any measure. Even more importantly, the government has been running budget surpluses for several consecutive months. This is huge because government surpluses are rare. When revenue exceeds spending, it creates room for new initiatives. The deficit compared to the previous year has dropped by a staggering $600 billion. $600 billion. Let that sink in for a moment. These economic improvements completely changed Hassett's perspective. He stated clearly that he's now pretty sure there is fiscal space for these payments. This isn't wishful thinking from a politician trying to score points. This is the White House economic advisor looking at hard numbers and saying the math works. When someone in his position expresses confidence about affordability, you need to pay attention. Then came the timeline bombshell. Hassett said he expects that in the new year, the president will bring forth an official proposal to Congress to make these payments happen. Early 2026. That's the window we're looking at for the formal legislative proposal. This isn't vague political speak. He's putting a time frame on it. The host pushed further, asking whether these payments would come from existing tariff revenue. Hassett's answer revealed how the funding mechanism would work. He explained that money comes into the government from multiple sources, including taxes, tariffs, and various other revenue streams. Congress then decides through the appropriation process how to spend those funds. So while tariff revenue could be part of the funding, this would require a specific congressional appropriation regardless of the source. Now let me connect some dots that Hassett didn't explicitly state but are crucial to understanding how this moves forward. Lawmakers have already indicated they plan to pass at least 2 more reconciliation bills between now and early 2027. For those who aren't familiar with reconciliation, let me explain why this matters so much. Reconciliation is a special legislative process that allows a single party to pass major fiscal legislation with just a simple majority in the Senate, instead of the usual 60 votes required for most bills. This summer, we saw reconciliation used to pass a multi-trillion-dollar tax cut package. The same process can be used again to push through these stimulus payments. This is absolutely critical because it means these payments don't need bipartisan support. One party with a simple majority can make this happen. And guess what? That party would receive all the credit for putting $2,000 in people's pockets. I'm not making a political statement here. I'm just pointing out the obvious incentive structure. The fact that multiple reconciliation bills are already planned gives us a clear pathway for how these payments could become reality. They don't need to negotiate with the opposition. They don't need to make compromises. They can include these payments in a reconciliation package and push it through. From a strategic standpoint, this makes the $2,000 payment much more likely to happen than if it required traditional legislation. When Hassett says early 2026 for the official proposal, we need to think about what early actually means. Is it the first week of January? Is it February? Could it stretch into March or April? Based on political realities, I have a strong opinion on this. If they're serious about making these payments a centerpiece of their midterm election messaging, they need to move fast. The midterm elections will dominate political conversation throughout 2026. Campaign messaging typically kicks into high gear by late February or early March. If the administration wants to use these payments as a major talking point, they need the proposal out well before that messaging cycle begins. My prediction is we'll see the official proposal by mid-February at the absolute latest. More likely, it'll come in late January or the first week of February. Think about the political optics. Imagine being able to campaign in the midterm saying we put $2,000 directly in your bank account. That's an incredibly powerful message. But to make that message work, they need time for the proposal to move through Congress, get signed into law, and ideally have payments actually going out before campaign season hits full swing. That compressed timeline means they can't wait until March or April to introduce this. I'd put money on seeing the official proposal within the first 6 weeks of 2026. That gives them enough time to push it through reconciliation, get it signed, and start the payment process by spring. The president has already made clear that this payment is tied to midterm election strategy. He's said as much publicly. That tells you everything you need to know about the urgency behind making this happen. Let's talk about what this means for you practically. If you're receiving Social Security, SSI, SSDI, or any other benefit program, start planning now for what you'll do with this money when it arrives. If you're a senior living on a fixed income, this could be a significant boost to your financial situation. If you're working but earning under the $100,000 threshold, factor this into your 2026 financial planning. The income threshold of $100,000 covers the vast majority of American households. This isn't targeted at only the poorest Americans. This is a broad-based payment that will reach tens of millions of people. Whether you're making $20,000 a year or $95,000 a year, you're eligible. That's a huge swath of the population. Some of you are probably wondering about the details that haven't been announced yet. Will this be a single payment of $2,000 or multiple smaller payments? Will it be per person or per household? Will children qualify? These specifics haven't been revealed yet. We'll need to wait for the official proposal to get those details, but the core concept is clear. Households under the income threshold will receive payments. I want to emphasize something important. Kevin Hassett's comments represent the most concrete timeline information we've received on this proposal. He's not a random spokesperson. He's the White House economic advisor who sits in on major policy discussions. When he says he expects a proposal in early 2026, that carries significant weight. He's not speculating. He's revealing the administration's internal timeline. The economic justification he laid out is also crucial. The fact that budget deficits have decreased by $600 billion compared to the previous year removes the biggest obstacle to these payments. The argument against stimulus payments has always been, we can't afford it. But when you're running budget surpluses and the deficit is shrinking dramatically, that argument evaporates. The fiscal space exists. Hassett's evolution on this issue is telling. He went from being unsure in the summer to being pretty sure now. That shift happened because the economic data improved. Revenue is up, growth is strong, the budget picture looks healthier. Those aren't political talking points. Those are measurable economic indicators that create room for new spending initiatives. For those of you who are skeptical, I understand. We've heard promises before that didn't materialize. But this situation is different. The economic conditions support it. The political incentives align perfectly. The legislative mechanism through reconciliation makes it achievable without needing opposition votes. And most importantly, we have a specific timeline from a senior administration official. I'm not saying this is 100% guaranteed to happen. Politics can be unpredictable. Economic conditions could change. Unexpected events could shift priorities. But based on everything we know right now, the odds of these payments happening are higher than they've ever been. The pieces are falling into place. Think about what needs to happen next. The president will introduce the formal proposal sometime in the next 6 to 8 weeks. That proposal goes to Congress where it gets incorporated into a reconciliation bill. The House and Senate pass that reconciliation bill with simple majority votes. The president signs it into law. The Treasury Department and IRS set up the payment system. Payments start going out. That entire process could realistically happen within 3 to 4 months once the proposal is introduced. If the proposal comes in late January, we could see payments going out by April or May. That timing would be perfect for midterm messaging. By the time campaign season heats up in the summer, millions of Americans will have already received their money. The administration clearly understands the political value of these payments. That's not cynical. It's just reality. Politicians want to get reelected, and delivering direct cash payments to voters is one of the most effective ways to build support. The policy might have good economic justifications, but the political motivation is obvious. And frankly, that political motivation makes it more likely to happen because politicians have a strong incentive to follow through. For everyone watching who depends on benefit programs, this payment could be transformative. An extra $2,000 can cover months of groceries. It can catch you up on bills. It can provide a financial cushion you haven't had in years. For families struggling with inflation and high costs, this money could provide real relief. I know many of you have been waiting for updates on this for months. The last few weeks have been quiet on this front, which made some people think the idea was dead. This interview proves it's very much alive. The White House is actively working on the proposal. The economic advisor expects it to move forward. The timeline is getting more concrete. That's the latest information we have on the $2,000 payment plan, and it's the most encouraging update we've received in quite some time. I'll be monitoring this situation constantly, and the moment new information breaks, I'll bring it to you immediately. Whether that's through dedicated videos like this or live streams, you'll get the updates as fast as humanly possible. Drop your comments below and let me know what you think about this news. Are you optimistic these payments will happen? What would you do with $2,000 if it lands in your account? Do you have specific questions about eligibility? Share your thoughts because I read every single comment and your feedback helps me know what topics to cover next. If you haven't subscribed to FNAIS yet, now is the time. Hit that subscribe button right below this video because you don't want to miss a single update about your money, your benefits, and payments that could change your financial situation. Subscribing is completely free and it ensures you'll never miss critical information that affects your wallet. Please share this video with your friends, family members, and anyone else who needs to know about these potential payments. There's a share button right below the video. Use it. Spread this information because mainstream media isn't covering these details the way we do here. We're a community that looks out for each other, and sharing this information helps everyone. I'm covering every development related to your finances, your Social Security benefits, SSI, SSDI, fixed income programs, and any legislation that impacts your money. This channel exists to keep you informed and ahead of the curve. You deserve to know what's happening with your benefits and your financial future. Thank you so much for being part of the FNAIS community. I genuinely appreciate every single person who watches these videos, leaves comments, and helps spread the word. You're the reason I do this work every single day. Make sure you're subscribed, hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload, and share this video with everyone who needs this information. Until next time, take care of yourself, stay informed, and I'll see you very soon in the next video with more updates that matter to your money. Thanks for watching.